He had no health. How is he not dead? Oh, I beat it. He had 0 health. Hello Internet, welcome to Games Done Wrongish. Today we will be taking a look at the PlayStation Plus offerings on the PS4 for the month of March 2018. What a month it is, with 2 huge blockbusters headlining 5 games in total that are playable on your PS4. The games are Clare, the Extended Cut, Bombing Busters, Mighty No. 9, Ratchet and Clank, and last but not least, Bloodborne. So without further ado, let's take a look. Clare is yet another side-scrolling 16-bit styled survival horror game for the Vita with PS4 cross-buy enabled. If you are into these types of games, then this one by all accounts has a pretty good story to play through. The game is centered around the main character Clare, hence the name of the game. You start out playing as a younger version of Clare who wakes up to find her family missing in a spooky house that feels very sinister. Soon you wake up and find that this part of the game was all a dream. You are actually playing as a teenage version of Clare who is currently visiting her mother in hospital. You leave the ward to make some coffee, and when you try to return, things take a turn for the worse. From then on, you need to figure out what is going on. The game's story explores many of Clare's memories, digging up a lot of guilt and trauma along the way. The game has 16 trophies to collect, compiled from 6 silver, 9 gold and 1 platinum, for a total of 1,170 points. The average playtime required to collect them all is 4 to 5 hours. Overall, Clare to me felt like just another Vita survival horror game that I have played many times before. As such, I did not spend too long with it. I overviewed a similar game named Uncanny Valley back in my January PlayStation Plus video, and apart from the stories, the games both felt very similar to play. As such, this was not for me, but if you are into these, then you may as well get it while you can. This time next year there will be no more Vita games to download with your PlayStation Plus subscription, so enjoy them while you can. Bombing Busters is a Bomberman type game. Not just type of game, it is basically a direct rip-off of the Bomberman games. That's not the worst thing in the world. In fact, I actually had fun playing this for a short while. The single player mode allows you to ease into the game, learning how to maneuver and use the power-ups that are scattered around. You play as a robot that was created by a mad scientist type doctor who talks you through the game as you play. Your main aim in single player is to take out the alien enemies on each map. In the early levels, they do not drop bombs and can only defeat you if they touch you in sort of a Pac-Man style. You need to drop bombs and try to blow them up with them. Your bombs explode in a cross pattern, horizontally and vertically. They do not explode diagonally, so you can drop a bomb and simply walk away to the next tile to not get blown up. If you can box in an enemy with the bomb, they will be blown up and defeated. The power-ups allow you to move faster, make your bombs more powerful, and also there is a glove power-up that allows you to pick up and throw the bombs over a fair distance. The game has a 4-player couch co-op mode and an 8-player online mode. In this mode you play in 2 teams. The rules are the same as the single player game, only this time obviously the enemies are also bombing robots that fight back. If you are defeated, you are then put into a tank type vehicle around the outside of the map. From here you can launch bombs onto the playfield to try and help your team defeat their opponents. If you manage to defeat an enemy this way, then you will be placed back into the game board and they will be put in the tank, and so on until the time runs out. The winning team is then decided by whichever team got the most kills per game. The game has 13 trophies to collect, comprising of 11 bronze, 1 silver and 1 gold, for a total of 285 points. Sadly, this is not a lot of points and there is no platinum trophy for this game. Also, I have no estimated time to collect them all for this game either. Overall, this game can be fun for a while with friends or online. The single player section was not that interesting, but it does allow you to learn the ropes, so it's a welcome addition. If you're a fan of the Bomberman games, then why not give this a try? It's very similar. I don't want to criticise this game too much. I feel it's been dragged over the coals enough as it is at this point. It's just very hard to try and think of anything positive to say about this game. It's supposed to be a spiritual successor to Mega Man. That is obvious from the outset. The main character kind of looks like Mega Man, and it's a bit of a side-scrolling action game. Unfortunately, this seems to miss the whole point of a Mega Man game though. This game has 9 very small levels that are quick to complete and not that difficult. When I think of a Mega Man game, or any Metroidvania style game for that matter, I think of long levels with lots of enemies and platforming to get through before being confronted by a boss battle. This tries to copy that formula, only it skips out on most of the content. Some of the levels can have large open sections with no enemies in them at all. Some of the enemies make no sense and just run headlong into walls in which they will stay there, trying to drive into the wall until you pass them and give them something to chase. Then when you get to a boss battle, they just do not feel fun to defeat. They generally box you into a small area to fight in and then have a mechanic that has them charge at you to damage you without you having much option other than to take that damage. The response time and jump height or distance often do not allow you to jump over or get out of the way of their charge. As long as you dodge their other attacks though, you will generally get through it. On top of this, the game stops and starts a lot during missions to wedge in some sort of story element, which kills the flow and urgency of the game. The game allows you to power up your weapon attacks by dashing through weakened enemies and collecting their essence of power. This again though does not seem to fit in anywhere or with what is going on. If say you collected fire upgrades that increase the damage against the current enemies, then sure, but in this game they just don't seem to have any real purpose other than to make your weapon shoot different coloured projectiles. The enemies seem to die at the same rate anyway. The game has 31 trophies to collect, comprising of 16 bronze, 9 silver, 5 gold and 1 platinum. The average playtime required to collect them all is 4 to 6 hours. Overall, this game fails in almost every aspect. I cannot recommend it to anyone other than someone that is willing to play through it to gather a few trophies to add to their collection. If you want to play a Mega Man type game though, I suggest you play Mega Man instead. There are collections of the older Mega Man games around, and I think there is a new Mega Man game in production right now, which is most likely worth the wait instead. Ratchet and Clank is the first of the two big hitters this month from PlayStation Plus. This game is a reimagining of the original Ratchet and Clank from 2002. I never played any Ratchet and Clank games prior to this, so I cannot judge how closely or how far away from the original they went with this game. What I can tell you is that it controls like a dream. Instantly I felt comfortable with it. I did not really need a tutorial section. I got one anyway, but it just felt so natural and obvious. If you have ever played any decent 3D platformer, you will also appreciate the simplicity here. You start out the game playing as Ratchet, who is a Lombax apparently. I looked this up as I had no idea what a Lombax was, and I found that it's a fictional species created just for this game series, so you can make your own mind up I guess. He looks like a mashup of many earth creatures, like the face of a cat, ears of a bat, tail of a lion and so on. It does not really matter, I'm getting sidetracked. Ratchet is Ratchet. He is a mechanic who wants to be more. As such, at the start of the game you are taking Ratchet through the trials required to become a galactic ranger. This is a sort of superhero organisation formed to take down evil villains across the galaxy and is fronted by Captain Quark, who Ratchet is a big fan of. This serves as a tutorial and allows you to get familiar with the platforming and attacks available at your disposal. Without spoiling any story or the outcome of the trial, I will move on to Clank. Clank is a robot reject. He was incorrectly assembled in an evil warbot factory, and as he is about to be destroyed, the robot makes a run for it, escapes the factory in a spaceship, which he later crash lands on Ratchet's home planet. From then on, the team of Ratchet and Clank is put together, and their first goal is to get Clank's spaceship fixed and warn everyone of the army of warbots that are being constructed to take down the Galactic Rangers, so that their megalomaniac boss can rule the galaxy with an iron fist. You then traverse each planet by running and jumping around as Ratchet, who also has weapons at his disposal. He has his trusty wrench as a melee type weapon, a blaster, a flamethrower, grenades and a proton drum that attacks everything in the immediate area. You can only play as Clank in very select areas which generally Ratchet cannot squeeze into. The game has 47 trophies to collect, comprising of 30 bronze, 14 silver, 2 gold and 1 platinum. The average playtime required to collect them all is 20 to 25 hours. Overall, I think this is a fun title for gamers of all ages. The gameplay is top notch, the story and characters would not be out of place in a modern Minions movie, and the dialogue, whilst often very silly, can also be very funny in parts. If you do not already own this one, then pick it up and enjoy. I know I will enjoy finishing it. Last on the list this month is Bloodborne, ladies and gentlemen. This game is made by From Software, the guys behind the Dark Souls series, and as such, if you did not already know, it is very much a Dark Souls style game in terms of difficulty and gameplay. The game starts with your main character being prepped as a hunter in some sort of blood-soaking ritual. Once you get out into the main world proper, you find yourself in a gothic style city on the night of the hunt. I have not gotten far enough yet to discover what the hunt is exactly, but by the looks of it, it seems to be some sort of purge going on throughout the city, and anyone caught outside on this evening is not expected to last very long. In fact, often when you knock on a door, you will be taunted by the dwellers inside, laughing at you for being caught outside on the night of the hunt. As you walk around the city, you will be attacked by pretty much anyone or anything you meet. As you take them down, you gather their blood essence. Every now and then you will find a lantern that allows you to drift back and forth from your home base, which is known as the Hunter's Dream. It could all be in your head, but either way, here you get to spend the blood on items and upgrades to help you in your adventure. As with the Souls games, the combat in this game is very punishing. Although in this title, being aggressive can often save you from an ill fate, which is not something I have seen before in the Dark Souls games. Bearing in mind that I have only ever played about half of the first Souls game, it's not that hard to imagine. In this game, however, when you are attacked, you have a short window in which you can recover the hit points you have lost by attacking the enemies. Your hit points are displayed in the red bar at the top left hand side of the screen. When you get attacked, the damage you have just taken will be displayed as an orange sort of colour. If you can successfully land an attack on an enemy at that point, you will recover some of the lost hit points and they will refill that section back to red. However, if you miss your window, the orange hit points will be removed, leaving you with a lot less health and in a lot of cases dead. When you die in Bloodborne, you start back at the last lantern you visited. Everything you defeated prior to dying will be back and you will have to go through them all again. The same thing happens if you visit the lantern and travel to the dream. When you return, everything will be back as they were and you will need to fight them all again. This is a good way to farm bloods if you need them to buy items or upgrades. You can get as far as you are comfortable with at the time, head back to the lantern, bank your bloods and do it again until you are confident you can make it to the next lantern. There are many boss battles in the game ranging from witches to mushroom type creatures. I do not yet have any footage of these because I am simply not good enough or patient enough with the game yet to get that far to fight a real boss. You can see from my gameplay video that is linked in the description below and at the end of this video that I need some time to improve. I am looking forward to doing that though and getting into this game for real in my spare time. The game has 40 trophies to collect, compiled from 24 bronze, 8 silver, 7 gold and 1 platinum, for a total of 1410 points. The average playtime required to collect them all is anything from 60 to 80 hours. I expect for me it will be counted more in days and months rather than hours, to be fair. Overall, I think this game is going to be a lot of fun. I have only ever toyed with the Souls type games before. I played the first Dark Souls on the Xbox 360 and the frame rate was not right. It was a bit laggy and the response time would often kill the experience, which made it harder for me to get into. This game looks like it has everything just right and I'm really looking forward to getting stuck into it and getting some bosses down. Why not download it and join me too? Perhaps if I play online at some point we may bump into one another. If you like this video, please consider watching another. 2 suggestions will be on screen now. Also, if you have not subscribed already, please do so by clicking the icon in the middle of this screen. Every view and subscription will go a long way to helping the channel grow, and in turn will result in more content for you. Thank you, and until the next time, goodbye.